Warning, this is a random episode. Some hypothetical topics asked and or discussed may not be suitable for all listeners. Viewer discretion is advised. Get Sophia.
Would you rather have to, oh boy, pee on your friend's face or poop on a family member's chest? There, I said it. I had it there.
Okay, pee on a friend's face, poop on a family member's chest. I mean, this one feels quite easy to me. Because first of all, family members, it's family, just like, no. I try to keep as little contact with them as possible anyway. So it's like, and I gotta say there's a temptation, especially with some of my relatives, that, in the sort of theoretical way as well. You know what I mean? Like, in theory, you want to say, like, I'm gonna shit on your chest, motherfucker. But when it actually comes down to it, like the physical thing of like making a calendar appointment, choosing a location, are you free at 4 o'clock on this day? They come along, you come along, and maybe you just go too big too soon, and then you got nothing when they arrive.
Hello everyone, welcome to 1000 Crazy Questions, the podcast. I'm your currently sane host, Houston-pierce. This is a podcast where we have on at least one guest a week and ask some series of crazy would you rather questions. We get into the psyche of our guests, explore topics and questions that maybe should not have been explored.
Okay, let's get into the episode this week. This week we have with us British comedian, improviser, storyteller, actor, writer, musician. He's been featured on Australia's ABC and the UK's BBC. He is the mighty and infallible Steven Morgan. Steven, if you want to introduce yourself to the listeners.
Wow, I mean, like mighty and infallible, so I don't know if there's anything I can say that'll top that. But I'm many things. I would say most predominantly comedian and improviser. I'm British, but I live in the Netherlands, which can be confusing. It's close, but it's not so close. And they speak a different language here. But I've been living here for about 6 years. And I do a lot of improv in particular and stand-up and around the Netherlands and some other countries too. And I'm part of some comedy festivals coming up as well. And I like it a lot. It's basically anything in performance arts is something that I get a lot out of. So yeah, that's kind of the short summary.
Nice. No, that's really cool. I've never been to the Netherlands. I've been to London once. Honestly, that was not the best experience.
Oh no.
But I don't want to get into the story. It's a thing. But
it's traumatic. No, fair enough.
But I want to ask, so improv, like kind of, I know how comedy works, or I've spoken to some more comics, but do you improv on a stage with like an improv team like that, or is it?
That's a good question. So it depends on the type of show, right? Because on the one hand, I do like just straight up stand-up comedy sets. On the other hand, I might be emceeing a night where there's definitely more improv involved because, you're kind of like that bridge between the audience and the comedians who are on the lineup that night. So, that's a different skill set as well. But I'm also, I'm part of like outright improv shows as well. So anything from something that's more short form based, or I do a lot of long form as well. I personally prefer long form. It can like have more theatrical elements, or it can actually have more just kind of story to it as well. To me, it's something which is, there's just like a ton of possibilities that can come out of it. And it's something that like because I mean, this short form improv is good and everything, but for me, long form is where you really start, your brain and your imagination just goes wild. And if you've got like good people you're playing with, then you can actually make some shows that are that are so good that you're trying to hold your shit together yourself, because of course it's all happening in real time and you just like gotta stay with it, because otherwise if I start laughing, then it's just, then it's good for me, but not for everyone else.
Yeah, that's fun. Do you ever have that thing where it's like you've killed it, but it was improvisational? You're like, we can't recapture that. It was like a lightning in the bottle thing, and
yes,
and then you're like, did we tape that, or can we redo that? But everyone's like, no. Is
so
anyone saying no?
we
can't redo it? Do you guys have a rule or something? Is there like, no, we can't reuse that bit, or is it kind of like, let's try it again?
Like that. Okay, yeah. So I thought you meant, because sometimes just in, when you're doing stand-up and you're working on bits, it's like you might just phrase something in the perfect way. There was something about like the magic in the audience, and then it was just, and you tried that exact same thing a couple times more, and both other times the audience just stare at you like, what was that? And then you're just like, guys, it was the same thing, guys, come on.
That sounds real,
but
too.
In improv, yeah, that is real. But no, in improv, definitely, it's much more about trying to keep something in the moment. Because I know that, because it's like improv is like progressed in all sorts of different places. I know in the US, Second City, and in that kind of pathway to SNL that there's a lot of the foundation came to like writing sketch comedy. So when you're using it as a tool for writing sketch comedy, then absolutely you do want to like take whatever the idea you have and go like, hey, what that works, that doesn't work. Let's explore that. Let's run with that. Because in that sense, yeah, that's exactly what it's for. But in general, you are trying, like inevitably there will be something you will do and pick up and it'll feed into something else. But like improv itself is very sort of pure. You got to make it up in the real time. But that's what I love about it as well, is because in terms of my writing, I'm very much more a person who does a lot better when I've got like people I'm bouncing off than if you just like put me in a room and said like, okay, now do something funny, Steve, off you go. That is just like the worst situation for me. I would just spend the entire time just doing accounts.
Yeah. You do the same thing with your comedy too, I imagine. Like you prep and then kind of go, or it's not just like get out.
Yeah, because you got some people who go with that sort of style where they sort of premeditate everything so everything is so perfectly timed and so perfectly delivered. And I've tried that, like as a stand-up, you try all sorts of things. You're trying to find your own voice and what works and what reacts with you. And I just know, like in real life, that, you probably can tell already, like everything is a series of threads that are all sort of dancing over each other. And that if I try and do that like perfect sort of one line, but like everything is so profound, it just doesn't fit for me. Like I can use that as a tool, like in some to deliver, and like it's a contrast, but my general style is very much more like, I don't know, like I've been described like Robin Williams on cocaine sort of thing. That's a style that I've been compared to. And yeah, and I can definitely see the similarities, not with the cocaine, but definitely like in terms of throwing things in there and you've got like these little offshoots, and before you even worked out if that's a thing that we're doing, then I've already moved on to the next thing. And it's like, it's fun to try and keep up and accept the fact that you're not going to pick up on everything, because personally, I'm not either.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're really well equipped for this show. And speaking of which, audience, real quick, here are the games of the show, the rules of the game. Dang it. Here they are. There are 2 rules to this game/conversation. Rule number 1, you must always answer the question no matter what. If you honestly have no preference towards one or the other, you say the phrase, flip a coin, and we move on. Rule number 2, whoever asks the question doesn't have to answer it if they choose not to. These rules exist because as questions become harder to answer, these rules become harder to follow. This week, we have a red band episode, so the topics discussed. So the questions asked and topics discussed will not be family friendly. If you want to check out a friendly version of this podcast, there are blue episodes. I labeled them in the description. You can go find them, check them out. And otherwise, I recommend you stay right here. And hopefully you're not 8 listening to this. And Steven, just want to remind you, if you have any questions for me or various questions I've asked, this is a podcast. We're going back and forth. You're never interrupting. Quick but important disclaimer to the listeners. Everything is hypothetical. If you are offended by this episode, sorry, I don't know. It's your fault. You can at me, or I may or may not answer. I say every week, but it's true. All the questions asked and discussed, whatever, are for comedic or discussion purposes. And lastly, before we begin, Steven, is there anything you'd like to ask or declare? Are there any inherent mental biases you may have?
Ooh, mental biases. Okay. Tons, right? So many. I've got a feeling that every single one of these questions is going to end up in a direction that we never intended. But without knowing what the questions are, I feel like, there's too many possibilities to second guess what sort of biases I'm going to have. All I would say is that generally I'm pretty progressive minded and,
We'll see if that's true, but yeah. Thank you. Thank you for letting us. Thank you. For
call back on that one in
a
few minutes. Yeah.
Remember this moment, audience. First hard-hitting, serious question. Would you rather have your profession be changed to being a clown or being a mime?
Clown or mime? Oh, okay.
Good old-fashioned, one of those, stuck in a box.
Yeah.
Dogs pulling me on a leash. Oh, my kite's getting away. Yeah.
Wearing the black and white stripe thing.
Exactly.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Damn, it's funny, isn't it, right? Because like mimes are something which I know what it is, but I've only ever seen it in like sort of sketch comedy taking the piss out of it. I've never lived in that era where mimes were a thing, like an actual thing. I just know it as this thing that you just kind of like, oh yeah, they're going to take a dog for a walk. But in that sense,
Yeah, they seem weird.
right? Yeah, like I don't even know why it's so popular or so like such a common thing to throw back, because it's like are there mimes now? I don't know. Like,
I
yeah, I
don't
mean
know.
they don't speak up, so it's we never
Where
hear
are they?
from them.
Yeah,
But like clown, man, I mean,
yeah.
like clowning is I mean, honestly, as well, this clowning is a strong one. So you're talking about biases. So this one I actually think is interesting because to me, growing up, the word clown is kind of like fear. It's death. It's Stephen King. It's it's bad things, or it's that whole kind of like horrific thing of like this is supposed to appeal to children, but I don't know what era that was, and I pity the lack of alternatives they had. But what I'm finding like in the last couple of years or so is there's a lot of like physical comedy. You look at someone like say Robin Williams, you look at Lee Evans, you look at there's a particular kind of like alt comedy thing where people are doing some like really out there shit, which is not necessarily like directly funny, but it's just becoming more and more popular. And a lot of that like comes from clowning in the sense of just like actually being in control of like your physical work, what you're doing, and like how you portray yourself. And there's this guy who's Paul Curry, who's a British comedian who I've seen multiple times. Amazing. And what he does is what you would call clowning. And you would, I suppose, technically call him a clown. But of course, in my head, when I hear the word clown, I think, oh God, get away from me. But like, that's the thing. It's like having this revival. And there are these sort of physical performers who like use this stuff. And it's amazing. Like, and it's so creative as well. It's like the sort of stuff where they do stuff which you're just like, this is what comedians can do now? And you're like, you're laughing your head off. But at the same time, you're just like, oh, okay, this is... yeah, I guess why not? It's like there's just so many like possibilities with it. So for me, that's a no-brainer. It's either the mime, which doesn't really exist, or it's clowns, which, as long as we're not talking about the Stephen King murderous ones, I reckon, the future is clowning.
Yeah, well, the future is clowning. Snap. Maybe the name of this episode funny. But yeah, no, I agree with you. Clowns are they do kind of read automatically fear, but they mean a lot to me for some reason. Like, they're fear, but they're also strange childhood. Like, I think kids don't really know what's scary, or they do, but like at a certain age, like I forgot what video I was watching, but if you show like a baby, like that's like 2 or 3, like or when they're still developing, like a scary face, some of them don't react because they don't know what's normal yet, and something that's creepy. I go back and watch old cartoons like I watched when I was a kid. I was like, that's creepy, but as a kid you're not thinking it's creepy. For instance, Teletubbies, they're horrifyingly creepy. I don't know if you guys know about the
so
Teletubbies. I think it was filmed somewhere over there.
Yeah, it's a British thing.
Across
Yeah,
the board.
yeah.
Yeah. And
I actually know the guy who originally played Tinky Winky. So
no way, that's crazy. Tell him he scars some people. I mean, well, he entertained me for about a year, I guess. Him and his friend.
Yeah. Oh, you wouldn't. He's actually a stand-up comedian now, and he does actually do a whole show based on this exact thing and how many people share shit with him. Yeah,
you
absolutely.
better use that. That's awesome. Yeah, but wow, but it's so weird how what's not creepy to you as a kid is suddenly like, what was I watching as an adult? I think clowns are like that. Like Ronald McDonald nowadays is like, the McDonald's guy. He's so weird. But I think clowns do have a spot in society. It's just not a spot I can relate to in any way anymore. Mimes talk about pushing the envelope. I think you should become a mime. It's like, you don't fall in these clown shoes. Don't. Paul Curry, you said? Screw him. No. Be your own. I wrote it down because I want to look into that later. But like it sounds like you pull a. Wile E. Coyote? Do you know Looney Tunes?
I know Looney Tunes.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, you don't have to talk. Just get those signposts out and. Maybe get a partner in crime, like ask you questions, like someone in the audience. I mean, obviously, I'm talking about planting someone here, but it could be funny. Like, he asks you like questions like, "Hey, mime," like I don't know, something. He's heckling you. Then you have cards that says, "That's not what your mom said last night," or something. And just go through.
I see what. Yeah, you're onto something there.
I'm saying you can push this mime envelope because it seems like clowns are being pushed. Like they have a future, they have a spot. Mimes are more or less non-existent. You can be the mime of a generation. Is what I'm trying to say.
No, you know what? You're right as well. I mean, if you think about it, it's like, I'm talking about clown. Said it's been going big the last 2 years. I mean, like the sweet spot's already over. You know, it's like it's the time for mimes. This is the next era. You just got to get ahead of the curve.
It's time.
You got to be that guy who's just
untapped.
Shuts the fuck up. Yeah. Damn.
Yeah. It's a whole new brand of comedy right there.
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
Untapped.
And that's it. And it helps with my least favorite thing, which is remembering what you say, because no lines is beautiful.
Yeah. Just cards if you want them. Yeah. Sign language if you want to get advanced. Don't hand signals, huh? But yeah,
exactly.
It works. Yeah. Well, speaking of communication, this next question: would you rather lose your best friend, like they die, or lose all your friends except for your best friend?
Okay. Okay. So this is a difficult. So hypothetically, first of all, I got to work out who my best. Okay, I know who my best friend is. That's clear. Okay, and this is this is the thing. So all the other friends that I have, but so not all people. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna keep my best friend. My best friend is definitely my wife. She's. We hang out a lot. We have our own sort of ridiculous language and way of talking, and just talking nonsense for the majority of the day, which is a lot of fun. And as you can see, I'm getting older. I tend to find nowadays, especially with doing so much with comedy and stuff like that takes evenings as well, that you know what, I'm losing touch with a lot of people. A lot of people just want to talk about their kids and stuff like that. Sorry, every other friend I have, you're really just you're not pulling your weight. You're just getting really dull. You're getting really boring. You've had your chance to be better, be more interesting, have better conversation topics, maybe some questions like this. But no, you blew it. You blew it, and now you're all dead. So that's something to think about, really. Maybe next time you can do better. Next life.
Well said. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, friends of Steven.
Yeah.
Sounds like you missed your boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Steven's wife, you're doing your job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have to tell her to listen to this now, because it's I've said something nice. So but it's true. It's true.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Well said. No follow-ups either. Let's keep going. Would you rather? And Okay, I'm gonna do this other one first, because they're all pretty raunchy now. We're getting into a raunchy territory.
It's all good.
80-year-old who's been listening this whole time. Now is your chance to duck out. Would you rather have to? Oh boy. Okay, hope it's not your best friend, but pee on your friend's face or poop on a family member's chest. There, I said it. I had it there.
Okay, pee on a friend's face, poop on a family member's chest. I mean, I feel like this. So this one feels quite easy to me, because first of all, family members, it's family. Just no. I try to keep as little contact with them as possible anyway. So it's and I gotta say, there's a temptation, especially with some of my relatives. That in the sort of theoretical way as well. You know what I mean? In theory, you want to say I'm gonna shit on your chest, motherfucker. But when it actually comes down to it, the physical thing of making a calendar appointment, choosing a location, are you free at 4:00 on this day? They come along, you come along, and then
do you even have to go?
You get there.
Yeah, when
right.
What were you eating the day before? Are you gonna make it terrible or worse for them? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. How do you time that well? Because, you're going to maybe just go too big too soon, and then you just you got nothing when they arrive. And then it's your family members come all that way, and then they're going to want to talk about what you're doing with your life, because that's what family do. And then you're oh man, I came here to shit on your chest, and now we're just having a conversation about poor life choices. That's a lose-lose situation. Whereas I feel I don't know, I'll happily pee lots of places. I feel that's just something that's just a good bit of fun. I got to admit that I'd be more concerned that if I'm peeing somewhere where it's actually going to get piss everywhere. I felt at home, and it's we decide to do the piss thing while watching a movie or something, and then it gets all over the couch, and then your couch smells of piss, and then that's just not good for anyone. But if you're I don't know, if you're just okay, press pause on the movie, it's okay, I got this thing, it's an agreement I made on a podcast, and so we just got to go upstairs. It's in the bathroom if it's okay, because and I just got to piss on your face, because it was either that or Uncle Clive, I had to shit on his chest, and he's just not doing so well these days. So you understand. I mean, you don't have to drink it or anything, but you can if you will. I'm no judgment, no kink shame, anything like that. But just try not to get to, because we're only friends, so don't don't make this a sexual thing. But yeah, and then I would just and I would definitely drink lots of water beforehand, because like when you're drinking lots of water, it's like your piss is nice and like lighter, that whole thing when you're just dehydrated and you're just standing there and you're just like, oh wow, that's quite a stench. No one wants that, no one wants that. And a friend of yours is like, look, you're gonna have like very lightweight piss, we'll get it done, you can have a quick shower, we'll get back to the movie, move on.
No, that makes a whole lot. That's very reasonable. That's the right way to approach it. The one thing I'm thinking here, the one flag on the play is I'm saying the health aspect of it, because their eyes and their mouth, like it's their face versus the other one's like on their chest. So like for the other person's health and safety, is it not better to kind of go for the chest, because they can shower that off. It's not the prettiest sight for them to see the act of that happening.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm going to imagine they're closing their eyes, but that's kind of traumatic-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, if it's a face, like, they're definitely going to see that. I mean, they can close their eyes again, but it's kind of inevitable that, because things do get into your eyes. And, it's
right.
It's the face area. Yeah, I'm just saying, health-wise, you think your friends will be like, I would. But, I got a cold, and, like, I can't, my health insurance, health insurance is a big deal over here in the U.S. But like I don't know, I don't feel like going to the doctor in the next I don't know, week, because the poop one, there's no doctor. I don't think you really need. You just need to clean off. Yeah, does that change?
That's true. You've really kind of put a spin on it, because look at this, look how self-centered I am. All I've been thinking about in my answer was myself and like my own piss and shit, whereas really it's like you say, it's like think about the person receiving this. What's the more difficult one thing I would say, that what came to mind when you gave me this beautiful like visual image of like pissing in someone's face is that if like this is just literally the question as is, then we could come to some sort of agreement where first of all they can kind of like tilt their head down like this. So what you can do then is sort of like aim for the forehead, but try and get it so you got the runoff, like will go on maybe the nose, but it's just going to fall on there. So you're not getting anything up the nostril because the gravity. The eyes, you kind of hope that the eyebrows are going to do a good job on sort of like taking one for the team there. But but if you can have like little things like that, then at least. Yeah, that's a good point, because the last thing you want is pissy eyes, because you're going to get like conjunctivitis. And people are going to ask, hey, how come your eyes go so red? And it's like, oh, my friend of mine pissed in my face. And that's just not really a pleasant conversation to have, And what alternative have you got, really? Yeah. Okay. But so I'm going to stick to, if we still have just like the loose laws, I'm going to stick to piss face friends. But I'm going to say like piss face friends. I can't even, it's like a tongue twister. Piss face friends, but with like, discussions on like, consent and rules beforehand and angles and gravity.
Yeah. No, well said. Personally, just keep this fair, I'm going to attempt to kind of, get at this one myself or try to answer it. I think I'd pick possibly a family member, and that's only because you don't see them often. And, their family, they have to forgive you. And I'll probably pick like a cousin around my age or something like that. And be like, hey, the alternative was this. They may not be happy about it, but, if they're, oh, boy, I don't know. I don't know how I could even sell that. I don't think I could sell to a friend, but if it's a family member I hardly see, I'll have to sell it to them, And simply because I don't want the blowback of, hey, remember for my friend, if I piss in their face, they're like, remember we set up that whole system? It still got my eyes. It still got my mouth. I'm like, we discussed this. You should have closed your mouth. But, but it doesn't work out somehow. I don't want that coming back on me. And I mean, I guess it's easier to lose a friend, but also if I lose a cousin who I barely see, what am I really losing? So, yeah.
Well, okay, so on the one hand, like your first half of your answer sounded like, I'm tight with my family, I think they'll understand, it's good. But then by the end, you're just like, I'm going to lose a cousin, what's the big deal? So mixed messages there, Houston.
I got families all over the board. I got a close family and I have far away family, and I'd pick someone somewhere in the middle who's close enough to accept this terrible thing, but also far enough to where if they stop talking to me, it's kind of like, well, like I knew I knew what I was asking for there.
Relatable.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, speaking of piss and shit and all this stuff, I got this next question for you. This one's open-ended. What is the best thing to talk about with your hairdresser? And what is the worst thing to talk about with your hairdresser / barber?
Okay. Ooh, No, this one's a tough one, and this is actually because I'm overdue a haircut, getting one tomorrow. So like that's on my mind right now. Living in the Netherlands, it's even harder because I speak very basic Dutch, and I'm not even sure how good my hairdresser's English is. We really don't talk. We don't talk much at all. I go to the same place all the time because it's like the cheapest place around. That's my style. But yeah, this is definitely like because I don't know if you've ever had this, but like, there's some of the hairdressers I go to, I always notice that there's like multiple people who'll come in while I'm getting my hair cut, and they're like friends with everyone. And there's like this really good atmosphere when they arrive and everyone starts chatting. And they're like if 12 seconds into arriving, they've like said some comment that got cracked everyone up. That's like, it feels like you're in the middle of a party, but you weren't really invited, and you're just like there as a friend of someone else, and you're just not even sure if anyone's remembered you're still there. So you're just sitting in this chair heading straight forward, and you can't even like turn your head to try and become part of the conversation because like, they're cutting your hair. What are you going to do? So like, honestly, in that situation, I feel like the only thing, like, holidays are like the default, but it's like, I don't know, like there's also like, is that got to be so like basic that like if you were to talk about holidays, that like, some guys walked in, they're all, making jokes and everything, and you're like, oh, so got any holidays? And it's just like, damn, you're like an NPC. Like what sort of thing is that to say? You're just like, you got nothing but holiday. Like what else do you have to live for? So I think actually that a good one there is to try and go for something that's not going to have like religious, political connotations, that's got some open-ended something. So I think the real answer of what you would say to your barber is, would you shit on your relative's chest, or would you piss in a friend's face? And lead with that. Then ask for what type of cut you want. And then you know that you're going to get like an interesting experience, if nothing else.
Yeah. Would you... I don't know what their answer, like, if they say, oh, poop on family. Like, they say it really fast. Right? And they're like, they don't even offer, like, a explanation. They're just like, yeah. And do you still sit down in that chair? You're kind of like, huh? Like, or they say, oh, Fred.
Yeah.
Like, I guess, like, I don't know if it's that easy, but if they just say it in 2 seconds, like, I guess they're decisive. Yeah, I guess you need your haircut. Yeah, I guess I'd sit down, but yeah.
Yeah. It also makes you wonder if that's just the regular conversation they got going on there. Like if the answer is that quick without like even a blink, it's just kind of like, this is what you need to do to become part of like the hairdressing friends club or whatever it is that I'm not part of. It's just, you've just basically unlocked that secret thing. And like, little did you know that all it took was just a little bit of discussing shit and piss based questioning that would make you be accepted with these strangers. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's it. It's not it's not political. It's not religious.
No.
Everyone poops.
Everyone
pees.
Everyone
Most part everyone has friends. For the most part everyone has family.
Yeah,
you can go.
That's it. It's very now you mention it. This is one they should have in the presidential debates. This is one that really is like, it shows a lot about someone's character and and what they're willing and how they are willing to sort of look at a problem like this, a very relatable problem, and take it seriously. It says a lot about what their values are. Amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Too, I do relate to you, by the way, going into a barber's office, or hairdresser, whatever, and like sitting there and people come in and they go, hey, what's up? And you're like, they're not talking to me.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're sitting there and your barber goes, hey. I've also been in scenarios where I was in Spain for a minute and I had to get my hair cut. And that was that was a challenge because my hair is not like everyone else there. I had to find like some, or the Moroccan, I don't know, this African hair shop, because they were the closest to my hair. Most everyone else was like really long straight hair, and like they didn't really know how to touch my head, and I was scared for them to touch my head. Like they do have they have the tools, but how many, like I don't know what you're gonna do to me. So I went and found like one of the 5 or something African barbershops. I went there. I used my phone to somehow communicate what I wanted. I was very scared because, there's still a language barrier. And they spoke a little bit of English, but it's like, man. I sit down in the chair, and then, some people come in, they're speaking whatever language. And like, like you said with the Dutch thing, like, it's very, like, I don't know. I don't even know. Like, at least here in America where I come in, I'm isolated like that. I know what's being said. Yeah, they're
Right.
talking about the game or whatever, some friend, there's something I know relative, but like what they're saying,
Yeah.
but here or when I was there in Spain, it was like, I'm like, crap, well, I don't know. Like they could be talking about robbing me after this or nothing, or
Yeah,
peeing each other's
exactly.
faces or nothing at all. I don't even know. And I'm just sitting there like a dummy, like feeling like a
Yeah.
prop, even more so like a prop because
Yeah.
I don't know what they're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're. Yeah, it's a weird feeling. The haircut came out good, by the way. Came out fine. I was really worried about it,
Oh,
but yeah.
good. Yeah, oh, well, that's a relief. Yeah, because that's a gamble.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
getting your haircut's a gamble anyway. But like, yeah, in that situation, I can definitely imagine. Yeah, because like, yeah, a lot of Spanish barbers are just gonna deal with just that very Spanish style.
Yeah, it would have been weird. And I found some good Spanish
Yeah,
barbers too, but they were like, "Oh, like can you cut my hair?" You know how they're like, "I
yeah,
can
yeah.
try." And they spoke good English, so I
Oh,
could. And like
okay.
I was like, ah,
Fry.
mm,
Mm, yeah.
See,
Man,
the
that is
thing
so
is,
awkward as well because like that's so kind of them to say try,
mhm,
but that just in saying that, it's like this is bad news. This
yeah,
is I
yeah,
gotta get out of here
yeah.
like, as quickly as possible without hurting anyone's feelings.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad too. You're like, this was almost perfect.
Yeah,
I'm risking a terrible haircut for the next 2 weeks. Oh boy. No, it just
yeah.
sucked. It just sucks.
I'm glad the story had a happy ending. That's the main thing.
Yeah. Thank you. So speaking of hair and everything, what do you think?
Mhm.
Open-ended question. What animal would make the best hat? What animal would make the worst hat? Granted, you're kind of killing this animal and wearing it.
Oh, okay. Well, you say granted, but it's not necessarily clear. Okay, because we could
Sure,
just,
sure.
I don't know, like break its legs. Okay, so
I mean, I didn't think about that. I guess you could wear
I
a live
could.
animal.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're right though. It's like let's kill it, or even more humane. Yeah, this is a callback to the live and let live. Or even more humane. Let's just say that it was already dead, natural causes.
Okay.
Surrounded by loved
Sure.
ones who were shitting on his chest, cleaned up afterwards, and we got this animal. So I mean, like at least I saw a video of a Canadian moose, a male moose earlier, and I just always find those fascinating because having never been to Canada, never seen a Canadian moose, they always look like it's CGI to me because I can't quite comprehend that there is an animal in existence that is this size, just kind of like walking around car parks, chewing on some leaves on the tree. So I'm gonna say that's the least one because you're just gonna break your neck. There's no physical way you can hold that thing on your head. That's just not gonna work. Like I mean I know that like hippopotamuses are supposedly like the most violent and like they're gonna kill you type of animal, but I feel like at least that way that like once the heavy animal has broken your neck, that the hippo is just gonna finish you off. Because it's like at that point you're like in absolute agony. You were like, this is a terrible idea. I should never have worn this animal as a hat. Oh no, but the animal's dead, so the
Yeah,
hippo
yeah.
cannot finish you off. Okay, yeah, and we
That's
don't.
pretty cool, by the way. I'm imagining a hippo hat. Like if it's like the upper jaw and head of a hippo, that's
Wow, yeah.
crazy. I never even
We
thought about
can
that.
deconstruct the animals
We
because
have
if
to
that's
make it
different,
we gotta make it a hat. Then it has to be wearable somehow.
yeah.
Like we
Oh
can't
no,
put
but like
like a 6 ton hippo or 4 ton, whatever they are,
right,
hip
yeah,
on your
that's
head.
impractical.
Yeah.
That's not going to work. You got a incredible neck muscle.
Yeah.
That's just not got that strength.
Yeah, even what I'm talking about, it's still gonna be a heavy ass hat. It's still gonna be,
That's true.
I don't know how
But can't you
many
like hollow it
pounds.
out a bit? Like,
You'd have to,
because
yeah. It's still, I'm saying,
yeah,
even if you do that,
it's
it's
true.
still
It's
heavy.
true.
I don't know. Their skin is pretty thick, and even
Yeah.
the moose thing you said earlier, I was thinking like some type of antler situation. I mean, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could get their head too, but even so, like it would be heavy. Regardless,
Yeah.
like what you said would
It
still be true.
would.
Their antlers are gigantic and heavy. They're pretty
Yeah.
much bones. Yeah,
Yeah. Right. I mean, it'd
yeah,
look badass. I mean, to be
yeah.
fair, but like
Like apocalyptic.
that would be yeah, it would actually. Oh yeah, yeah. But like but yeah. I mean, it's just not practical. It's not going to work out. So yeah, but actually, I do like the hippo one now you mentioned it. And I've kind of like visualized that sort of thing. And you got like the two front teeth hanging down at the front. Those like goofy
Oh,
little teeth that it has.
oh, snap! I didn't.
You know?
Yeah, you're gonna have the teeth sticking out in front of you like this. People
Yeah,
you
like
look through
it's,
giant big teeth.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they might obstruct vision, but like, fashion takes preference over practicality, I think, in this instance. Because if you've got an animal hat anyway, then, that's just a given. It's just that, you've decided that this is the most important thing rather than actually having something which will be good for protecting your head. I mean, it's obviously the smaller animals. Like, I'm thinking also, what's that? There's like that squirrely thing that's like, it jumps and it sort of hovers and it's got like flaps of skin. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, the flying squirrel.
Flying squirrel, there you go. Because I can imagine that would be quite a nice one that you could have like in its entirety. If it's in flying mode, then it's just like resting on there like a beret or something, and also, it's. Yeah, right. An excited face on the front there, so you can keep the head on still. So people don't know. And yeah, you're like, but I suppose you'd have conversations with people, and they would keep like looking up at the squirrel face, which might get a bit distracting, though. Because it's like if you're having a conversation with someone, you don't want them looking at you and then constantly looking up at the squirrel's like his face, which is just like this look of horror. When you're trying to talk about something serious.
Like maybe you want that. Maybe you do, because I know some people have that big old lion thing. Like they already have lion type hats and rugs where they'll like wear lion cowls and capes, and like you can see the full lion head on someone's head, and it's like an intimidation type thing. And like those already exist, and like they want you to look at that lion. Like there's no, there's no. Don't look at me, or don't look at my hat. That thing demands attention. So it's like a lion mid-roar. It's like drape over your face. It looks heavy. The actual body of the lion goes down to a cape. I don't know where you buy those things. I think you just have to kill a lion to get one. But same thing could be said for the hippo, a tiger. I don't know, even a freaking zebra. But that seems a bit strange. But it can happen.
That's true. But I think though, when someone going into that territory, then it's got like remnants of like pickup artist peacocking, and that's a vibe you just want to avoid as much as possible. The last thing you want to be is one of those guys who's kind of like, I'll just wear my lion hat just and the ladies come up to me. It's like, okay, dude, let's go back to your mom's house and live in the basement again. I feel like there's a line there of like, you want to have a little bit of like, you want it to be a little classy. So I'm going off the idea of the flying squirrel, because now I'm feeling like there's too much of it that's too like too attention grabbing. But so I'm thinking now at this point more like I'm just gonna go for something that's maybe like otter based. So it's longer. It kind of like flows at the back. Maybe I don't know. This is a tough one, because
it's a lot of animals. The world is yours with this.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. There's not much of a sort of subcategory of classy animals that draw a little attention, but not too much attention if you put them on your head in it.
The flying squirrel, it seems like the most, like the coolest thing you've said. I mean, you want something exotic and small. And well, I guess I don't know how exotic flying squirrels are. Maybe you can have a red panda. Those are pretty small.
Those are pretty small, true.
You can get you chinchilla. That's very illegal because they've been hunted already. But they're like the softest animal in the world, and like that. There actually are chinchilla. Like there's chinchilla scarves. So I bet there already exists a chinchilla hat. So I bet that's already a thing. But it goes with the hipster type deal too. Like, this is my chinchilla hat. It cost me $5,000, 2,362 pounds. But don't worry about it. That crap.
Beautiful accent. Yeah.
No, terrible. Sorry, but I don't know what it.
Oh, it's good.
It was a rich accent, but just like it's because those hats are small enough and the fur is valuable enough. I'm sure they exist somewhere, and they're just really expensive. And probably.
I mean, and like you're saying, it's the smoothest hat. Like, I mean, that would be really nice, because even if whatever's going on, then it's just like a little stroke. That's just going to be really pleasant. Okay, I'm on board. Chinchilla, it is.
Chinchilla, okay. Black market people, if you're listening to this, you can reach Steven at
natural causes. Yeah.
Natural causes. Yeah. Don't let me know the causes. That's how we know it's natural.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. That's how it works.
This next thing here, jumping right into it, because I don't think there's even a good segue from chinchilla to what we're going to talk about. Would you rather have super healing calm that only works as drinking medicine, or you can fly up to 10 minutes and strictly just 10 minutes when you're butt naked and you can't really support anything outside of just your own weight.
Butt naked 10 minutes. Wow, super specific. Okay, so let's think about this logically. Yeah. Okay, so super healing. So the comes like healing everything we're saying, basically. Because I mean that's a scientific miracle. That is just like, you know, that's like world changing. You know, that's
true. That's true.
I mean, like then you start getting things of like, you know, everyone's living, and you know, and you just I guess you'd also be like milked like a cow all day, which, because that very quickly people would be like, no, this is too important. We cannot risk you just walking around, I don't know, like eating a lollipop and just, you know, scrolling on the phone. We need you just coming constantly.
Yeah, and let's say and let's say they can't reproduce this. It's like only from you is this like gonna be valuable.
Yeah. And you know that like when they try to reproduce it, which they'll inevitably do, you know, like they're going to get really frustrated and try all sorts of different things to see if they can. And you're going to go through some bad times, like being the one who's getting experimented on, trying different things or whatever it is to try and find out what it is about your cum that's so healing. So this is another one where, like, you know, look, I'm talking about my own perspective here. It's like, oh, either save humanity or like, oh, the scientists are going to poke you for a while. So yeah, I mean, like, it's your life, right? And, you know, you got things to do, relatives to shit on and all this. But then on the alternative one, the flying for 10 minutes, and the butt naked one. I mean, the butt naked, like, because I feel like if you, like, very quickly after it's discovered that you can fly, you know, you're the only person flying. So people, you know, there'll probably be like some exception where they'll be like, look, you know, it's not great, but, you know, that you're in the sky naked and all that sort of stuff. But we'll just have to make an exception just because we know that it's just you, and, like, you know, it's not a sex thing. It's just like, you got to do it. Otherwise you can't fly. But at the same time, I mean, I feel like, again, someone's finding out, like, I can fly butt naked. Once again, they are taking me to the laboratory and they're like, what's with this guy? Why can't he fly? Why isn't he butt naked? And you're spending a lot of time then as well naked. Although I guess with the cum option, you're also spending a lot of time, like, you know, well, as naked as it gets.
At least half dressed it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But at least I guess you get to keep your top on, which might be like a little warmer in the lab, you know, and the other one is just going to be a lot of time. And, you know, I've not got the best body. I'm not going to lie. It's like, you know, I'm going to get self-conscious about that sort of things. You know, so inevitably in these options, there's a lot of time in research laboratories, like people poking and attaching nodes to you and things like this. So I'm going to say that I'm going to go for the cum one, because at least then I can, I don't know, wear a shirt.
Yeah, it's warmer. Yeah.
Yeah. You never know.
No, that's pretty good. Would it change the answer if you could carry people, but you still had to be naked? Would it change the answer if you can carry more stuff? If you were like a little bit stronger when you flew, like you and your best friend could go flying, you know, over the town. Would that change your answer if you can like bring a friend?
I mean, it would be nicer, right? Because, you know, you're kind of like got a shared experience there as well. But it's also like the 10 minutes, like you're not going so far. Like it's, you know, it's got a nice novelty value to it because, like, I don't know, 10 minutes flying. I mean, I have no idea what speed. Yeah, what's the speed like? We got any information on that?
No, yeah, I was thinking like Peter Pan speed. I mean, if you go too fast, you're breaking physics or whatever. So it can't be Superman type deal. Like if you're
okay.
It just couldn't be, because then you have to be like super strong and there's wind pressure and cold and whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So maybe, my voice is dying here. Maybe you have to go, I don't know, upwards to 40 miles per hour. I don't know how many kilometers per hour that is. I'll have to do a calculation.
That's all right. 40, I know, that's all right. 40 miles per hour. Yeah. Okay. That's clear. That's clear. And you saying it in that voice, actually, it made it sound a lot cooler.
My voice, I'll clear it 1 second. Sorry.
It'll clear, yeah. Don't worry about it. Okay. But even with that, I think that just because of the fact that, like, the other one is going to give so much to so many different people, and really, you know, it's not like an awful life to, you know, have to supply all this cum for the rest of your life. Like, there's worse fates that you can have. And the flying thing, I think, you know, is definitely nice, but, like, yeah, I got to think about the bigger picture. I got to put my money where my mouth is and say that, you know, live and let live. I want to help the people whatever way I can.
Yeah. You're a man of the people. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. You're humble. You're a sacrifice. Makes sense.
So humble. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of being a man of the people, would you rather have everyone know the details of your finances or have everyone know the details of your relationships?
Okay.
Past,
So
present, and
it's
future.
okay. All the details of my relationships or finances. So, okay. I'm gonna go for. I'm gonna go. This is this is a very telling one because, of course, like in the finances, I'm kind of like, it's not like I'm not like one of those guys who's like got money where I've got investments in offshore like terrible things. Most of my money is like, if I have any money, is just like in some boring savings account. So I feel like whatever my finances are would just like, I mean, they're boring enough that I barely pay attention to them. I should pay attention to them, but like I don't pay enough because I find that sort of thing just incredibly dull. So whereas even though like, like some good times have happened in relationships, but I just can't help feeling like when I'm like between that kind of like 18, 21-year-old sort of thing, just being a bit, I don't know, like it just doesn't make you look good, sometimes just being a bit sort of casual, just being a bit more like not breaking things off in a particular way, or someone else breaking something off with you and you just being really embarrassing. I actually remember like my first long-term relationship, she broke it off with me because I was just like always annoyed about things, which is fair. And she was like, you're just such a downer. And I'm like, I mean, I can say that now. At the time I was like, oh, I'm not, how dare you, you're always saying things like this, which was proof that I was a downer. But I even like remember I like recorded a CD of songs that I just like spontaneously decided to record, and like once I had it all done, I like went to her house and like posted it through the mailbox with her name on it, and then like never made any other copy of it, never heard anything more. And there is a part of me that's just like, oh my god, that's so cringe and embarrassing, and I hope that CD doesn't exist anymore. And I cannot even begin to imagine how bad those songs were, because songs multiple, right? And I just like gone home and decided in a few hours to like record and burn this CD in all of that time. And I'm just like, these must have been absolutely diabolical and so poor quality, and the lyrics must have been absolutely like massive cringe fests. I mean, if anything, I'm just really glad that was the last I ever heard of that CD. And yeah, we never really kind of made friends afterwards. Probably made the CD as part of the reason for it. But I feel like if that sort of stuff became public, that somehow that it might become too tempting for someone to try and find the CD and listen to it and hear the type of nonsense that you make. And this certain, of course, when you look back at stuff you did when you're younger and you cringe. I mean, like I still look back at stuff I've just done and cringe. But there's a whole other level at that kind of like, I don't know, what would I have been, like 16 or something? And that's just too painful. That's looking some of the like sort of most cringy, awful shit you done in the face, and just, you're never going to accept that. You can never accept that it's like you once did it. You'd much prefer it just to be kept a secret, never known, leave it be. So yeah, I'm just going to say, yeah, everyone take a look at my finances. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Please help.
Well put, man. I mean, I can't help. I'm thinking about the tape too now. I'm thinking about like, oh man.
No, see, it's too much. It's too much.
If only I had that on deck. I can play that right now.
No. That's why I intentionally didn't say the actual name of the person. Can't leave the real evidence of this. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if anyone close to Steven who knows his personal relationship details wants to divulge,
they're all dead now because of the last questions.
Dang it, you're right. Just your wife left. All right, well, yeah. I only have two sort of questions left, and I'm going to squeeze them in because we're running out of time, but I want to ask you these. This second to last one is it's not even a question. It's kind of a word association one. So I'm going to name a celebrity, and can you name me a drink that just comes to mind, the first drink?
Okay.
Like cocktail or alcoholic drink, pretty much.
Yeah.
That comes to mind.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Julie Andrews.
Dr. Pepper.
Dick Van Dyke.
Sprite.
Ricky Gervais.
Cold coffee.
Okay. Idris Elba.
Red Bull.
Okay. What about dang it, she's losing. I'm getting, where is she gone? Oh, she's gone. I had her in my head, she's gone. Dang it. No. Okay, Will Smith.
Ice-T.
Gal Gadot.
Green tea.
Angelina Jolie. There she is. She's back. Angelina Jolie. I'm sorry.
Angelina Jolie, of course. Yeah, sorry, I should have helped. Rooibos tea. I got tea on the mind now.
Got it. Can you hear? Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep. Sparkling water. Yeah.
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Mango juice.
That fits.
I feel like this is like the celebrity Ross Rack test.
The
like
what
you
test?
can read into these. You know that they show you the psychologist so he does black shapes and says like, what does this make you think of? And then afterwards it's like, oh, it turns out that you want to have sex with your family. And it's like, what the fuck, man? I just said like potato. It's like, how is this? You need to lose your
Little
license.
did you know, potatoes, it's an aphrodisiac that specifically says that you like and you're into stepsister things. Anyway, but
damn it.
Donald Trump.
Raw silage.
Raw
Just like
silage?
shit. Yeah. Just like liquid shit.
Got it. And last one, Michael Jordan, the basketball player.
Yeah. I'm gonna go for Coca-Cola.
Okay. Hey, you did it. Good job, man. Yeah.
I mean, I'm also, because I'm kind of like, what does this mean? You know, there's no meaning here. So I had no one kind of come back to this and say like, what the fuck, man? How dare you say? I mean, okay, the Donald Trump one, there was a bit of meaning there, but that one I'm fine with.
Yeah, who can come back to you like Julie Andrews, not Sprite or whatever you said? I don't know. How dare you?
It's kind of how dare you? Do you know what? Like how she took the Sprite company, the Coca-Cola company, to court because of all those things that happened, and it'd be like, I didn't know that. They were like, yeah, bullshit, you just said that. It's just a coincidence. Sure it is. Yeah, Jesus. As if someone would just say Sprite for Julie Andrews. Oh my God. Nah. Next thing you know, your life's over.
No, for real. Speaking of death and life being over, when you die, and let's say, we're gonna agree that there's an afterlife here.
Mm-hmm.
What's something that you're kind of dreading you'll be judged on that, like, good or bad day, of course, saying that about, Mary Poppins being Sprite, but I'm sure that'll come back. But what do you, what are some things that stick in your mind?
See what you mean, yeah. Because, like, of course, if you look at, like, a lot of, like, organized religious, like, a lot of religious doctrines, kind of, like, very old-fashioned. They're like, come from years gone by. And, like, a lot of people are kind of like, I'm going to pick the ones that I care about and the ones I don't, because they're all kind of pretty insane if you really, like, boil down to what they're really saying. And you take everything literally. So, yeah, it's a good question. Like, how do you then choose something where it's like, well, what does, like, supposedly matter in this, like, chaotic, like, none of us really know the meaning journey of life and, like, what is good or bad? Yeah, like, I think that, like I said, the boring answer is to say that it's like, okay, look, it's about just how you're treating others, That's the kind of, like, if you're only thinking about yourself and doing things for yourself, then of course that's not helping others and blah blah blah, and like then it's just like you're a terrible person. But on the other hand, there are some, like, more specific things that, like, I think are just, like, a little bit more important. Like when you're on, like, the bus or train or something and someone, like, puts their shoes up on the seat, like the seat which people sit on, and it's like their outdoor shoes and something like that, and you're just like, well, what are you doing? Like, I could be sitting there and, like, you could have been walking through dog shit and all this. You don't know. Like, it could be traced. There's always traced dog shit. Let's be fair. All shoes are covered in traced dog shit. And you're just doing that? Well, you're going to burn in, like, hell. We're going to call it hell, but, like, whatever that equivalent is. So that's one of them. Also, I think that people who wear big hats at festivals, concerts, things like this, like, you are there to, like, with everyone else watching whatever's on stage, and, like, you've chosen to wear a big hat. You could have worn a small hat, one of those squirrel things, whatever it is, something more subtle, and it would have had whatever effect you wanted to have to stop the sun from burning or whatever. But you've chosen some, like, giant, I don't know, sombrero, top hat, whatever it is, some lion thing you got going on there. And that now is just, like, obstructing everyone. And you haven't even thought about that. Actually, I guess this kind of ties into the being nice to people. But no, it's this specific one. If people are doing this, then, yeah, burn for eternity. That's just no question. absolute no-brainer. And I think we'll definitely need a third. And I think that third would be, that's going to be like people who like push in to queues, because I mean, like, I know it's a real sort of stereotypical thing for being British, you know, because like the British people love queues so much that like when the Queen dies, they just like all queued to just stare at her body, which is, if you think about it, so fucked up. It's like, it's just some old dead woman who never had to work a day in her life. So why are you all just queuing for days, like taking time off work and shit? Like, oh my god, like she was not gonna do this for you. So, but like even in that situation, if someone's gonna jump the queue, if someone's, you know, kind of, or if someone's like holding a place in the queue for someone else who wasn't there, and it's like, come on, like I know that it's like you got there early and you just think like, oh, my friend will join, it's only one more or two more people, what difference does it make? But it's like, well, you know, you all got to go to the back together. Sorry. Like, or you two can stay because you were already here, but your friends, sorry, they just got to wait, you know? There's like a lot of people who want to see this dead queen before you, you know? They're going to do all sorts of different things. There's one guy who thinks you can bring her back to life with his cum. We don't know. We're going to find out soon enough, you know? This is just how royal processions work. So, yeah, I think those three things I'm going to put top of the list, and then, you know, everything else, fuck it.
We on it. All right, just so I got, so skipping, jumping the line, jumping queues, big hats, big like hippo,
big hats,
and you know, line hats, and then what was the third one again? The first one?
Oh, is this? Oh, put people like on public transport, just like putting their outdoor shoes on the chairs, you know? Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, look out for those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate the callbacks, by the way. Yeah, I'm actually guilty of that last Q one. I'm sorry. I'll admit that now, because I don't know if you can let me live and let live. I think I would, in this situation, according to these laws, I'm not going to a good place.
Damn. You're going to a Spanish hairdresser.
Yeah.
Which is going to try his best. Okay.
Boy.
But wait, but I'm curious. When is this like something you always do, or is this just like there was a one-off or something that comes to mind? You know,
it's something that oh man, I feel like it feels like I'm admitting a crime here, because I've done it.
Sorry.
I've done it more often. I've done it often than not. Because if it's something like, I don't want to wait on this thing, and no one's gonna. Okay, it depends. Okay, if we're waiting to like go to, I don't know, a movie or whatever, or see something important, I will not skip, because the social pressure is too high. But like I'm getting onto a train or something like that, and like we're all standing in line, but there's two open doors, and like one time the doors open and people usually come out of one door and people go into the other door. But a lot of times, and it's something I just observed, no one comes out that door and everyone just files into one. So here I am standing at the door that people usually come out, knowing the probability that no one's probably going to come out, and people are waiting in line to go into the one that goes in for sure. This is on like a train system in my city.
Yeah.
So it'll open up, doors open. Maybe I stay there for a second. Maybe one person walks out like I expected, and then they're out. And then everyone else, all the other suckers, are going in on their line. I go inside. And then this one guy called me out. I won't forget this. He said, "Hey, we're in line." I said, And I walked. I took my seat. I'm like, oh.
You know what? No, I'm on your side 100% here. Look, there's one thing about queuing when it's like, okay, you know, like you said, there's a specific thing we're gonna get to, and it's just like someone's jumping the queue. This, you're just being efficient. You are just being efficient. You just like, otherwise everyone's just waiting. It's like, look, you said yourself, you waited for them to come out, and then you're just being efficient. And also, like, kudos to you, like, because, you know, in those situations there's always someone sometime who's going to call you out, you know, because I don't want to label myself as that guy. I'm not that guy. I'm pragmatic. Like, there are certain circumstances where I'm like, good for you doing that, that's good. But if someone calls you out, you got that choice in that moment of like, you know, do I like try to explain, justify to this complete stranger, or do I just make a noise and walk away, like, you know, just move on?
Yeah, because I know he has a point. I know that there's people there waiting. They're cold. They want to get in just like I do. I know he has a point. I don't know you, man. Like, I'm not gonna defend myself, really. Like, it feels like, yeah, I'm guilty. Yeah. What are you gonna do? Sorry, man. And I'm just walking. Like,
all right, now you're still going to the good place. I still like this one. This is all right. This is good.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Well, you said to me, going to the afterlife and the good version, but I appreciate it. Me and my $5,000 chinchilla hat nod to you, sir. We appreciate it. And you know what, audience, there's no better place to end it at the afterlife. Thank you for listening to this episode. Thank you for listening and following 1,000 Crazy Questions. Stephen, is there anything you want to plug or tell listeners in general?
I'm on all of the social medias and I'm doing lots of things. There's some things I share online as well. So you can, there's lots of different usernames. I'm sure we can share them in the notes or something like that. But if you like this, then I'll be doing other things as well.
All right, cool. Nice plug. Everyone let me know through comments, email, by Instagram, any questions you'd like to add to the list. And rate the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, all those other places people find podcasts. Rating helps a lot. I appreciate it. Share this with your friends. Share this with your enemies. Everyone stay safe. Bye.